Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and I hope you guys are having a wonderful dead week. This week between Christmas and New Year's is always such a mind boggle of what day is it and too much sugar but wonderful snuggly time with family, and yeah, it's one of my favorite weeks of the year, to be honest. I'm obviously, well, maybe not obviously, I'm filming this ahead of time so that I can also take the entire week between Christmas and New Year's off and not have to do any work. I'll probably be answering comments and stuff like that on the channel just so those don't get completely crazy and backed up. But yeah, I'm excited to take off a week and just spend time with family. But before I head into that, while you're watching this, I've already headed into that. I want to show you what I made with my Destashify, my November Destashify fabrics, what I made here in December, and then show you what fabrics I grabbed that I'll make up in January. So let's get started. Okay, well, let's start with the pants first and then we'll get on to this. Before we get too far into this video, I've made two things with this bright cotton twill fabric, one of which you can't see yet until Friday. So Friday's video is actually a pattern release video, and it will not be going up until noon. So I know a lot of you, most of my videos go up 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but Fridays will go up at noon Eastern Standard Time, so don't panic when you don't see me at 7. I am coming up. I just have to wait for the pattern to be released, so just hang tight. The video will be up. It'll just be up a little bit later than normal because I'm waiting for that pattern to be released. Okay, and it's a good one, and you want to check in. All right, so let's get started first with my cotton twill. So I had 4 fabrics. I have made 5 things, but you'll see the 5th thing on Friday. But I've made 4 things with it. One of the fabrics you're only going to see minimally used, but again, we'll talk more about that here in a second. Okay, so these are the Miriam trousers. Folks, I'm obsessed. First, let me say, I made the size 10 in these because that fit my hip measurement. Cashmerette does tend to draft for a curvier hip line than I have, so I often have to shave some off the hip line. So I made these up. I made the size 10 with the full seat piece. So there is a standard back and then a full back. I used the full back and the size 10 with everything. And then the only other adjustment I made was to shorten, I went ahead and shortened the pattern by 2 inches, the leg of the pattern by 2 inches. And then when I went to hem, I ended up taking another inch off for a 2-inch hem. So we'll see that. But I did baste the pants together before I did the waistband and had to shave, quite a bit off that curve, and it's made my pockets really small. So I will go back and adjust that, but there was no way I could get around that just with the way things were made already. So I will go back and adjust the pocket piece, just the front of the pant and the pocket piece that goes directly behind the front of the pant. I just need to shave a little bit off of that opening to make that opening a little wider so that when I take off that hip curve, that drastic hip curve, it's not, I have the regular pockets. I can still get my hand in them, it's just they're small. So that is one thing that I'll change for next time, but oh my gosh. I did the adjustable waistband on these. Okay, I have been sewing, and I sew a lot. So I sew quickly, and I've been sewing only since 2011. But I did work as an apprentice to a professional dressmaker, and I worked in a workroom, a bridal workroom, so I have had baptism by fire. So I've done a lot of sewing. I can make a pair of pants really quickly, all things considered. However, and I made these really quickly until I got to the waistband, and that took me some time. But it was like a jigsaw puzzle, and it was so much fun. If you followed along on Vlogmas, I talked a little bit about it over on there, but it was so much fun. I had to follow all the directions. Like I mentioned that a lot of times I know where I'm going. Like I know the steps. I'll look at the instructions to make sure that I'm not, doing something incorrectly if a designer has something else in mind for how things, if they're doing something a little differently. So I do read, skim the directions, but most of the time I know where I'm headed. And if it's kind of the same, way that I would do it with maybe some tweaks, maybe there's a technique I like to do better or whatever, then I know what I'm doing. So I don't really have to look at the instructions. In fact, that's one of the reasons I can sew as quickly as I can. I don't have to look at instructions really anymore. But I had to read these instructions word for word, and I couldn't see where I was going. So I was just doing, okay, do this step, and then we're gonna do this step, and just trusting the process. It was so much fun. It was like doing a jigsaw puzzle. I highly enjoyed doing this waistband. But let me show you. So this is the flex waistband. So here it looks just like your regular side seam. But then when you sit, ooh, it can get bigger. Is that not, and I know that men's pants have had this forever. It's so smart. So there's elastic that is attached in through here. And then there's also a little bit of elastic that's in here on the inside of the pants. There's a buttonhole. It was the most fun construction. Now this pants pattern also comes with a standard waistband, and I'm sure that would have gone together, you know, lickety split, but I had so much fun doing this flexi waistband, and it's so comfortable. It's so comfortable. Okay, so zip fly, I used orange because I can, and I used this really fun, this is bias binding from my, oh, what's the name of that dress? Kyneton. My orange Kyneton that I made back in the summer. I had some leftover bias tape. So much fun. Love how that turned out. This is my fabric my lining fabric from Destashify. This is all you're gonna see of it today, but you will see more of it on Friday. Obviously this is a cotton twill that I grabbed last time, and I just love it. Okay, there's a zipper or a button. I used a clear button that goes on the inside, so you have a clean front finish, and then a bar and tack that goes together as well. So it's a nice clean finish there in the front. Fly. And then with the hem, I took a 2-inch hem. I'm actually not really sure what the pattern suggests. I took a 2-inch hem. I just serged the raw edge, folded it up my 2 inches, and then stitched it by hand for a blind hem finish. And I think that worked out really, really well. I am just so pleased with these pants. I mean, I'll wear them now, but because this is dopamine dressing to the nth degree. And just wait till you see Friday. Come back on Friday. But this is just dopamine dressing for me. And I have about, I don't know, 1 3/4 yards left of this fabric, and it's wide. It's like 54 wide. So I might be able to get a blazer out of that. I have plenty of the lining fabric still left to do any kind of lining treatment. But fingers crossed I can still get a jacket out. That may happen in January when I get a little bit of downtime, but I do have some of this fabric left between this garment and then the second garment that I made that you'll see in a minute, or see on Friday. But oh my gosh, yes to this pant pattern. Absolutely love it. Yeah. And aside from just taking the curve off that, the hip curve, just because my hips don't curve, that's the only adjustment. And then some, you know, length adjustments because of my height. I didn't touch the rise at all. But just so you know, I am for my height, 5'2", I'm very long in the rise. I have a very high waist. Very short torso, very high waist. So I can usually get away with normal pants. In fact, very rarely do I buy petites because my rise is a normal rise and my legs fall in between a regular and a petite. I have like a 30-inch inseam, so which is not common for someone that's only 5'2". But anyway, my sister has like a 34, 35-inch inseam, and she's only 5'6". So she has like an inseam of someone that is like 6 feet tall. Anyway, we're built somewhat similarly in that short torsos and longer legs. She just has much longer legs and arms than I do. But anyway, all right. So that is that pattern. Absolutely loved it. So glad I tried it out. Okay, next I had two knit fabrics that I used for this month. One of which was this beautiful dark green French terry. I think there is a little bit of rayon in this, but definitely cotton as well. It feels so soft, it's beautiful. And I was very inspired. I've been inspired for 2023 to try some new pattern companies, expand a little bit. You know, not all of them are gonna work for me, but you know, let's go ahead and expand out. I've had a seam work pattern subscription since they very first put it out. And I mean, I still have that old price because I was grandfathered in with everything else. I just hardly ever sew up their patterns, and I don't know why. I think maybe in the beginning they had some issues with some drafting issues in a few of the first patterns that came out with that, but I think that it's improved, and so I hadn't given them a chance again. And for no real reason, I still have, I've been paying them monthly for years now. I don't know why. I hadn't made anything of theirs. So I decided to use some patterns I'd already paid for, went through, spent some of my credits, and grabbed 3 of their patterns. And guys, I love all 3 of these. So shame on me for not have gone and trying these out. And they draft for a tall person, but they draft for a C cup. So a lot of times I can get away without having to do a full bust adjustment, especially on knit stuff. Maybe with, doing a full bust when it comes to the woven things or like something that's really fitted. But for a lot of this stuff, because it's a C cup, I can get away with it. Okay. First, we have the Lisa cardigan. This is kind of a cropped, like high hip cardigan. It comes with buttonholes, very simple. It's got like a big, kind of a bishop sleeve, a drop shoulder, but it's way drop shouldered. So it doesn't, sometimes when drop shoulder hits just like right off my shoulder, it makes me look way too broad. But this comes off enough that it's more of a design line on the arm and less of anything to do with my shoulders. And I don't feel like it cuts across my bust either. In fact, it's long enough that it kind of hangs even below my bust. So all is good there. I shortened the body of this by 1 inch and the sleeve by 1 inch because I am only 5'2", and I think that worked out perfectly. I made the size 10, and that's the only alteration I made to this. It is so cute. I knitted a cardigan. It's brown, and you guys have seen it. I get compliments every time I wear it. It's the Be Thankful cardigan by Lily Kate Makes, and it's a real interesting color brown. The yarn was gifted to me by a viewer, and I wear that all the time. It's in my capsule for winter. But I get questions all the time on, do you know of a sewing pattern that would be comparable to that? Ding, 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 ding. This is so comparable to that. So you've got a fitted band at the sleeve, or at the wrist. The pattern doesn't call for interfacing on the neckband, but I did. On the facing, but I did. I interfaced the entire neckband facing, and I would do that again. I don't know why. They just had you interface where you would put your buttons and buttonholes. Because it doesn't need to stretch to fit, because it's a facing, so it fits into the front just fine. So I got the facing here. I serged the inside of it and top stitched it down all the way around. I'll show you the buttons that I used. It does not have a band around the bottom, it's just hemmed. So it's just hemmed, and I've just serged, and actually I didn't even use my cover stitch on this because it doesn't need to stretch. So I just top stitched all the way, the hem, and then went up and did the facing all the way around. And I think that worked really well. Tomcat stitchery tag. And then with my, sorry you can't see my face, with my Be Thankful dress that I made in the Vintage Liberty Wool Challis, the seller sent me these 3 buttons, vintage buttons. Look how perfectly those go with this cardigan. They're a dark green, so they match the color, and they're very interesting. She gave me 3, and I used all 3 on this cardigan. Isn't that stunning? Love that. I just really love that. So I'm very pleased and very excited about my new Lisa cardigan. And it sewed up so quickly. All 3 of these things sewed up quickly, but this one, it really, yeah. I love a good knit project. All right, next, this is the Takara dress. And on Vlogmas, if you guys watched Vlogmas, Sunday was the last day of Vlogmas, but if you watched it, I was debating if I wanted to leave it as a dress or if I wanted to cut it into a top, and I just decided this time of year it would get more wear as a top. So I cut 11 inches off the bottom of the dress and hemmed it up, and it has become a wonderful shirt. So it's fitted through the sleeves. Again, it's the drop shoulder, but it is way drop shouldered, so I think it works because it's so dropped. Very fitted the rest of the sleeve, which I like. That gives you some shape because it's a very loose and boxy dress everywhere else, and it's cocoon shaped. The dress is cocoon shaped, so I lost quite a bit of that by cutting it off into a top, but the dress was very flattering on. I just thought I'd get more wear out of a top, which is why I decided to stay with the top. It does also has pockets that you could put in if you wanted to do the dress. This thing sewed up in no time at all. I made the size 10, and I shortened it by 2 inches total, the dress 2 inches, but I think once the top is made, it was just shortened an inch, and then I took 11 inches up from the bottom of the dress. So I guess that'd be 12. So technically 13 inches in total have been taken off of this pattern to get the length where I've got it now on my 5'2" frame. It's got a beautiful scoop neckline with the neckband. This is just a cotton jersey, and I think I'd love it with the dark green, but also this is great with jeans and all sorts of things. And it lets the fabric do the singing. I love this color. It's kind of, the lime green is in my color palette, and it's one I didn't wear before, so it's fun to be able to pull that out and wear that. I did use my cover stitch on this. I did my cover stitch on to top stitch down the neckband, on my sleeve cuffs, and also on the hem of this. I used the cover stitch machine. So very pleased with how that turned out. And then finally, this is one of their newer patterns. These are the Nash pants. It's kind of hard to see. They're like a legging, but they have a flare at the bottom. You'll see them on me here in just a second. They've got these wonderful little pockets right on both sides that, and then just a elastic waistband that folds down. I think I have enough stretch in this fabric per the fabric instructions, but I think something a little bit stretchier would have been better. I think that this pattern would be beautiful in a ponte. I think this pattern would be beautiful in an athletic knit. So something you'd use for leggings. Now, I don't make myself leggings because I feel like I look top heavy too easily because my lower half is my smaller half. But with the flare at the bottom, it balances out my upper bust. So I am here all day for the flare, for any added width at the bottom. I really enjoy that, and I mean, these went together really quickly. They are paneled. You have a seam down the front of the leg and also down the back. I didn't make any adjustments to this other than I scooped out the back crotch curve by 3/8 of an inch, and then I shortened the leg 2 inches before I cut them out, and then I shortened them another inch before I hemmed them, and I hemmed them with an inch seam allowance or hem allowance. So that's kind of what I had to do for my own body, and that worked out really, really well. So, you know, there you go. 1.5 inch wide elastic goes here at the top, but I didn't have to do anything with the rise. I didn't have to mess with anything else. I just adjusted the length of the legs, and I think there were 2 spots where you could lengthen and shorten. So I adjusted in those, and then I ended up taking another inch off the hem before I hemmed them because I needed that in order to wear them comfortably with shoes. So there you have it. Those are my Nash leggings, I guess. I don't know, athletic pants. They're very comfortable. And if you've been, you know, with the capsules, sweater pants are like the thing right now, which are just stuff in a sweater knit. So I mean, obviously a French terry is not really a sweater knit, kind of, but if you did these in a thicker sweater knit, you would have very on-trend pants, and they're very, very comfortable. So I'm sold. And I love them paired with the Lisa cardigan. I think that's fun, but even as by themselves, I think that works really well as well. Okay, let me reset my mannequins here, and I'll show you the fabrics I grabbed for January. Okay, so I grabbed 2 fabrics in December. I said January. I grabbed them in December. I'll make them up in January. And I'm very excited about both of them. So they came from the same seller, and they're just gorgeous. Actually, she popped a little note in my order and said, oh my gosh, I've been walking by these fabrics to sell on Destashify forever, and I kept thinking, oh, those are Whitney's colors. And then I'm the one that bought them, so that's kind of funny. I also love, you know, if anyone else wants to sell their fabric that's in my color palette, stick it on Destashify. Okay, this first one is a silk Dupioni. Shantung, what is the difference? Dupioni. It's gorgeous. It's a silk with a lot of body. It's narrow. It's only 40 inches wide, but I have 2.5 yards of it. This is in my color palette. I love a good bold orange. This would be a very fun top, I think, to wear in the spring. I would love to do something with a little bit more of a statement sleeve, like maybe a bigger sleeve, but if I have enough fabric. Because again, I mean, I have 2.5 yards, but it is very narrow. So maybe a shirt that's not cropped, but that is a little bit shorter in the body, and then I could get a really cool statement sleeve out of these. So what do you guys think? Like, what, I kind of thought, You know, I did that Aria hack with the big sleeve and with the tie. I don't think I'd have enough for that because the Aria body is a little more voluminous. But I don't know. I need to look through my stash. What are some pattern companies that I don't use very often that you guys would recommend? Something that would have a really fun statement sleeve. I don't want anything cropped because I don't do cropped, but a shorter shirt would be fine. Maybe something I could half tuck or something, or fully tuck. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful silk. And it just needs to have a statement sleeve because this fabric holds it's so bodied, it holds its shape so well that I feel like I need to take full advantage of that. So let me know. And it doesn't have to be, honestly, a Seychelles top from Itch to Stitch could be fun. Although that's a pattern company I use a ton, but something along those lines would be perfect. Something with a little bit of a statement sleeve that will show off the body of this fabric. So let me know what you guys think. Some pattern companies that you think I should be trying that are different. Because with this other one, I'm gonna use a tried and true pattern. So we'll use something different with that one. Okay, I am clearly hooked. This is a wool challis, and you just don't see this ever. So the fact that I have found 2 pieces of wool challis on Destashify is amazing. This is 54 inches wide, and it is, it's the back, and I've got 5 yards of it, folks. So I have a ton of this, and look at this pattern. Looky, look at all the butterflies. And it's in my color palette. I mean, it looks like stained glass window to me. I don't think it's Liberty, because I think it would say on the selvage if it were Liberty. But it is very Liberty-esque. And I just love this. But I have 5 yards of this, guys. So what I'm going to do with this is make myself more to wear in the spring. I mean, I'll make it in January. But I'm going to do the cashmerette Upton dress. And I'm going to do one of the options with sleeves. And I'm going to put the Gilmore skirt on it, the full circle skirt. Because this fabric deserves to be a swishy skirt. And I will fully line it. So I'll line the skirt and something in my stash, as well as line the bodice. So, I mean, the bodice and the pattern is lined anyway. Probably won't line the sleeves, but I'll line the bodice and the skirt. Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. And guys, I found this, I mean, there was nothing special about me with Destashify. I got on Destashify and shopped like the rest of you. So, there are some real treasures to be had. So if you are not shopping Destashify, you need to get over there. Especially because I'm going to be selling a whole bunch of stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I am, as soon as I can get my act together and get stuff loaded. But, gosh, I have just found some of the most beautiful fabrics over there. So that is very exciting. Very, very exciting. So there we go. This is my Destashify haul for December, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it all comes out in my January makes. Okay, that's all I have for today, guys. As a reminder, I need to wash those. As a reminder, Friday's video will be coming out a little bit later in the day. It'll be coming out noon Eastern Standard Time as opposed to 7, but it will be up. I've already recorded it. It's all ready to go. So you'll have to head over to the channel, make sure you watch that. Sunday I have a kind of a end of 2022, looking forward to 2023 video, which you definitely want to take a look because I am sharing a little bit more about some sneaky plans for 2023. And then next week I've got videos coming up on Monday and Friday, not Tuesday and Friday. Something exciting is happening next week. So I have a video going up on Monday instead of Tuesday as a kickoff for that. And then I'll have another video that's out on Friday. So then back to the normal schedule. Also, we'll be starting the Parker Ponte Sew Along. Maybe not that second Sunday in January. It might be the 3rd because I need to give myself some time to get it made up and filmed, edited, and all that kind of stuff. So bear with me. But that Parker Ponte Sew Along will be coming up in January. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you guys again on Friday. Bye.